I want to talk today about motivation. And this is something that really came out of a conversation that I had with an old friend of mine. We've known each other since we were kids, pretty much. And I'm hoping that this will help somebody out there. So, she has, during most of our adult life, she has struggled when it comes to eating healthy and exercising and just making those two things like a regular, normal part of her life. So she's really been through a lot of yo-yo dieting, and sometimes she'll work out for maybe a few months or even longer, lose a ton of weight, then gain the weight back, fall off the wagon, and it's just been this continuous challenge. And so we were having a conversation a while ago, and she made the comments that when she looks at me, it's so like she just knows that I am never going to fall off the wagon, something along those lines. Like I always do those things day in and day out, and I've been doing them forever, and it's easy for me. And to some extent, yes, it does come naturally to me. But again, as she said that, I really got to thinking, like, well, I don't really believe that it's necessarily just kind of an innate, easy that thing that some of us are just born with. I think we learn certain things along the way that either can help us or work against us when we're trying to just take care of ourselves. And so I kind of did some impromptu coaching and asked her, like, what's your motivation? Why do you want to eat healthy? Why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to be in shape? And we kept digging and digging, and it turns out that her reason is outside of her. So one of her core reasons is that she is in a community where typically has to go to quite a few events, and she runs into the same group of people, it's the same circle, and that is a circle that talks a lot, and not in a good way, a circle that talks a lot. And she just realized that a lot of her motivation is when she walks into those events, into those circles, she does not want to, feel, she wants to look good in the eyes of the other women that are part of that circle, because they are the ones doing most of the talking, unfortunately. So she wants to look good in front of them, she just wants to present well. But her reason is outside of her, right? So it's got nothing to do with her at all. And so finally I was like, yeah, that's probably why you struggled for most of your adult life, is because you're wanting to lose weight and exercise and eat healthy to look slim, let's say, for others, but you're not doing it for you. And if you're not in the picture, it's really going to be hard to sustain that, because what happens is when we say, oh, I'm going to commit to doing these things every day, and then we put the reason or the motivation outside of us, what we've just done is we've just said, oh, I'm going to commit to just doing things to please others, right? It becomes a people pleasing thing. And there's something in us that is also going to retaliate against it, because our true selves, we all know deep down inside in our hearts that that's not how it's supposed to be. We're not supposed to wake up and just only do things to make others perceive us in a certain way. That's how we get trapped. And so, of course, it becomes difficult and even impossible to sustain that. So we got to the bottom of that. And then the next thing was now figuring out, how can you bring yourself into the picture? So, and we didn't get to it within that conversation, but I do want to say the same thing to you, that if you are somebody who has been struggling when it comes to just taking care of yourself and making it a part of your life, a regular part of your life, what can you do? What mindset shifts can you make to make it just about you? Because it's not selfish to want to be healthy in your body. Like, this is your home for your entire existence on this planet. It is your right. I would say it is like it is your responsibility, it's your spiritual responsibility, whatever you want to call it. But there's nothing wrong with just making it about you. So that's really what I wanted to convey in this video, because Going back to her statement, let's say, about the fact that from her perspective, it comes easy to me. I will say that my initial motivation, strangely enough, my initial motivation for wanting to stay fit came from childhood. At some point around, I don't know, maybe around age 10 or something like that, something clicked in my brain where I realized that if I would just eat healthy and more, and even more importantly, make sure that I move my body every day in some ways, that I would then not be the 80, I hopefully wouldn't be the 80 or 90-year-old that needs assistance just to go pee, needs assistance just to tie her shoelaces, right? Like, as a child, the idea that I would lose just this freedom to just go to the bathroom for myself, like, to me, it just was, it was, it was both scary and also like, but that can't be, like this just can't be. So that was literally my initial motivation from childhood to say, okay, we're gonna make sure we always take care of ourselves. It was literally because I was like, I'm doing this for my 80, 90-year-old self because I intend to live for a long time. I want to live to 100, even, whatever. And I am going to do it, still dancing, still doing, backflips, whatever I was doing at the time, right? So that was my initial motivation. And of course, along the way, other things have come into let's say, my line of sight in terms of like benefits, right? And certainly there's always a motivation of, yeah, let me exercise and eat healthy so that I can look good in my clothes. Let me eat well and exercise so I can look good naked, for God's sakes. There's all the reasons. And then there's other things like the mental health benefits, because stress really does accumulate and pile up and stagnates in the body. Like, so much of what's going on in the body is just a pile up of stress. And some people, like in the alternative world, will talk about like having a traffic jam in your system, right? Because when stress piles up, your energy, your life force, your chi is not flowing, and it feels like you have a traffic jam. That's what pain can feel like, or even stagnation when it comes to like your menstrual cycle and maybe your flow not being right. That is all still a sign of stagnation. So anything that we can do to move that, to shake things loose, and exercise is one of them, right? And it doesn't have to be anything formal. A walk, gardening, like there's lots of different things. So I will encourage you, hopefully you feel encouraged, that if you have had challenges with just taking care of yourself, and you've done a lot of yo-yo dieting and yo-yo exercise, and you're sick and tired of it, I would encourage you to first ask yourself, like, what is my motivation? Why am I doing this? Because if I'm doing it from a place of maybe only people pleasing instead of just wanting to please myself and just be happy with myself, it's two very, very, very different things. And again, it is not selfish to want to take care of yourself. Even if you wanted to anchor your reason maybe to your kids, right? I think that is, even if you want to say, I want to exercise and be healthy so that I can play with my kids, I can be here for my kids, even that is it's a stronger anchor, right? Than, let's say, just a bunch of people in your community that ultimately are just judging you and gossiping about you, and who would probably keep talking about you no matter what you do or don't do, right? So find an anchor that is something more solid, something that is more high vibe. Because again, just doing it because you want to be there for your kids, that's a higher vibration, a higher frequency, right? Doing it just for yourself because you realize, hey, I'm a spiritual being. This body, this meat suit is the vehicle through which my spirit gets to experience life in the physical 3D space. And so it is my divine responsibility. It is my honor to take care of it. That is also a higher vibration for you, and that will keep you going, and then nothing will feel like work anymore. It just becomes a part of living. It becomes like breathing in air. It becomes just like an inhale and an exhale. You don't think about it, you don't plan it, you don't have all these layers that complicate things. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you and hope that you find this helpful. And for anybody who is brand new to my channel, by the way, my name is Jermaine Satya. I am a health coach. My channel is all about helping women, mostly over 40, because I'm over 40, to live well and be well. So I hope that you found this helpful. And if you have any comments, feedback, if you have any, if you yourself have, had to work through this for yourself, and maybe you find other things to anchor you and to give you that energy to keep going forward, share in the comments, because I'm sure it'll be helpful to somebody else who is also trying to, get out of the rut for themselves. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.